Hello, 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 hello. It is Thursday. It is Thursday, another day, another stream, as always. And today we have two topics, as always, or as per usual, let's say. And we're gonna go back to the good old episode number 11 for improving your 3D art. Today, of course, after doing the 30-minute quick sketch, which, should roughly take 30 minutes, we're gonna go back and we're gonna look at the new pieces that have been submitted in the Discord. So, of course, I think the last time we've done one of these was 2 weeks ago. Since then, people have submitted new pieces, so it's time to look at them again, give some feedback to them, and that's what we're gonna do today. We don't have as many as we had last time. Last time I think we had 6. This time, at least so far, we have 4. So we can maybe spend a little bit more time on them, on each individual one. Yeah, but that's what we're gonna do today. Beginning with the quick sketch, let's go straight to Blender so we can look at what we're going to sculpt today. If you only want to see one of these topics, you want to see the 30-minute quick sketch or the improving your 3D art section, I guess you could say. There should be timestamps in the description or in the timeline. If they're not there yet, then I still need to add them. But I should add them at some point. Okay, let's go to Blender. Let's reduce the... Hold on. Okay, that's better. Perfect. Okay. You can see what we sculpted today. This little dude right here with his cape or whatever, and the good old... I guess this is more made out of bones. Of course, it's supposed to represent a plague doctor. Usually what they have is like these I guess, these sewn together pieces, I think out of leather or something, but this one is like, I guess, more natural, mask, could say, with actual bones. At least it looks that way. Sorry to bother you, but couldn't post my Blender file on Discord. Okay, first of all, welcome back, Lilu. What's the problem? Did Clyde not like your photo? If that's the case, then you can try uploading it to Imager, for example. Yeah, or yeah, I guess that would be the easiest way to do it. Then it should work. Then you can just put the link in the or ArtStation if you have that. Then you can put the link in the personal feedback channel. There you go. We have, yeah, this will be the scope today. A little bit different when it comes to the head shape than usual, but I think that'll be fun. I will also try to add the head. Shouldn't be too hard, this time we don't have any hair, so we don't need to do any complicated stuff. Yeah, let's see. There will be a plague doctor today. True. Welcome back, Crow. Hope you had a great Thursday too. Let me grab my Snake brush. Do we have everything that we need? Have you made an ArtStation yet? Welcome back, James. Not yet. I'll put that on my... I have it on my to-do list. Maybe I'll do it this weekend. Why? Is that so important to you? Welcome back, Manica, too. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday. What do you like more, Manica or Passion? I don't want to, I want to have one name that I can call you by. Yeah, I think we're ready. I think we begin with the quick sketch. I've started the stream pretty late, so let's get through this pretty quickly, and then we can go straight to the feedback. Okay. We're ready. 3, 2, 1, go. There you go. Okay. So now that this is a, you know, this is not a normal head shape, we can begin a little bit differently by pulling out this shape. There you go. Mannequin on YouTube. Yeah. Okay. So what should I say if I refer to you on Discord? Because you're called Passion on Discord. So it's like, you know, you have two names. Depends on where, I guess. There you go. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna start with the mask. It's probably the easiest thing to start with. And then we can go to the next few pieces afterwards, like the general head shape afterwards. I think this is sort of the defining piece of the entire thing. So I kind of want to focus on this first. There you go. Problem with the crease brush is you need to manually change the pinch strength. If you don't change it, then it will not be affected by how strong you set the brush. So the strength that you can set here only changes how deep, I guess, it creases. It doesn't change how much it pinches the geometry together. So if you're working, for example, and you want to just make small adjustments on the mesh, one thing you need to do is you need to also not only reduce the strength of the brush, like here, Shift F, you also need to do that down here with the pinch. Otherwise it pinches everything still very strongly together, while not giving you a lot of, I guess, strength while trying to, I guess, create a crease. There you go. So we have that now. Let's see. The bird is already visible. Let's see. Let's do the bottom part here. Do this and then do that. Perfect. Of course, drawing them out first is pretty simple. Afterwards, you need to kind of pay more attention to how we refine everything. So right now we can just kind of block out everything pretty freely. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so that's the first part. Of course, this is not really like this because this should be like just gone, I guess. There should be like free, just nothing there. But, well, it's not like this. So, I guess I just dig deeper a little bit so that the shadows sort of imitate that look. Okay, let's now grab the head part and pull it back. There you go. Okay. Change and grab the snake hook brush. So of course this mask should only really cover his face, not really, or its face, whatever. Not really the overall head. So we definitely need to still make a head shape, which I'm gonna do now. I haven't added the eyes yet, but the eyes, don't really need to be there immediately. I'm not really looking for a perfect anatomy here. I just want to, sort of block out the head shape. There you go. Who says that this is actually a human underneath the mask? Maybe it's not even a mask. Maybe it's just the normal look. Who knows? Although it's quite thin, actually. Let me make it a little bit thicker. Otherwise, the head just kind of looks very, very thin. There you go. Oh, hello. Let's just... yeah, that's better. Perfect. Several times I tried to scope with a mouse, very uncomfortable, but how I took the tablet so stuck for half a day. Yeah, mouse sculpting can be quite annoying. Or, well, it can be... if you're used to tablet sculpting especially, or you're working with a tablet, it feels very weird. You can get used to it, I think, pretty quickly. It is just that, in my opinion, the big downside to using a mouse is just that you strain your fingers very easily. At least I felt it pretty quickly while doing my test scope to test which ones, you know, what the differences are. So yeah, I would always go with a tablet just because I don't like the feeling of feeling my the health of my fingers is deteriorating as with every brush stroke. So you know, I like the tablet more. Okay. We have the head shape, might be a little bit too small. We can change that later though. Let's go to the neck first. This is feels very weird doing it like this. I should have maybe created a head first and then added the mask, because right now it's hard to really gauge where everything should be. I think this one definitely needs to be further back. That's better. Just because this was so far forward, no face would be like back there. So we need to pull this all the way back here. That's way better. And then we probably also need to change the length here. Okay. There you go. Perfect. Let's go to the neck. Oh, we have some overlap here. 23 minutes. Perfect. So much time. There you go. I want to kind of copy what we can see in the reference, sort of this sort of bird neck look, going forward and then backwards. Oh, that's a little bit too small. Have the opposite effect. My hands hurt when I use a pencil. Okay, that's weird. Is it that your fingers feel like, do you feel some sort of strain, or does it feel like, do you feel some sort of pressure when you hold the pen? I have that sometimes, or I had that sometimes in school, especially when I was writing something down. You know, writing a lot in a short amount of time always feels kind of weird. And maybe that's what you mean. I never had the feeling of strain on my fingers while drawing or, you know, using a tablet. Interesting. Okay, let's add actually a neck too, just so we have something to ground the neck on. Right now, just sitting there. Okay, good old hump here in the back. Perfect. I think that can look pretty cool. Just extend it a little bit so we have enough room here. Perfect. Might be a little bit far down. Strain from like the pinch of holding it. Yeah, holding it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Holding a pen for too long. I definitely see what you mean. For me, that only really came up when, yeah, when, you know, when I was writing a lot. Just because you had to write so fast that you had to control every movement of the pen, which meant you had to clutch onto it a little bit more. And, you know, you press it deeper into your finger. Most likely his hand is in the air and it hurts. Oh, you mean he's not resting his hand? Could also be, although I've never seen someone do it like that. I could see though if somebody would do that, that would, you know, be more straining. But also kind of weird because you have less control. I actually hold the pen different from, I guess, most people. That's at least what my teacher or one of my teachers said at some point. Like, oh, you have an interesting way to hold the pen. What I do is I don't use, I guess most people hold it like this, where they use the tip, the finger, the point, index finger to hold the pen. Then they use the middle finger to rest it on. What I do is I do it like, hold on, like this. So I rest it on my ring finger. I hold it with my index finger as well as my middle finger. I don't know. It's not a huge difference, but I don't know. This way I feel just more secure because you have more fingers on the pen, so you can control it with more than just 3. You can control it with 4. You know, you use your thumb, you use your index, you use your middle, and you rest it on your ring finger. But that also meant that I have a small like dent here in my finger. I wonder if that's the same for people that use the 3-finger method. Maybe somebody uses the 5-finger method, resting it on their pinky. I don't know if that works, but it feels kind of weird. Maybe you can do it like this. Ooh, you can hold it like this and draw. I mean, paint or write. Okay. So I kind of want to add the cloak that he's wearing. We can see he has some sort of cloth here in the front. That's what I want to imitate too. So we definitely need to do something like this first. Create the sort of bird neck look. There you go. Set my file in Megalink. Hope it's okay. Well, as long as I can download it and see it, it's all good. Okay. Let's add the cloak real quick. It should be somewhere over here. Maybe a little bit further down. Let's see. Yeah, maybe there. Kind of just loosely resting on him. Going forward. There you go. Okay. Oh. Okay. It looks kind of like he's in a cozy sweater. Let's see if we can change that. I want to focus on the hat first, though. Let's save it real quick. Oh no, I looked at my horrible hands from yesterday. I don't want to see them again. We sketch day 277. An electric pen cannot be held with 5 fingers. Well, I just did it. Like this. See? Hold on. There you go. Like this. Perfect. Let's see if I can... You know, I can still work with this. You know, holding it like this is just uncomfortable. Imagine sculpting with a fight stick controller. I don't know if that would work. Well, I guess you could control it, or you could use it the same way you use a controller, where you have like a cursor that you then move around, but that would be so slow. That would be absolutely super slow. I don't know if that would be a fun experience. Okay, now I want to add the sort of cloth that is wrapping around his body. The problem is, I actually want to do that after we remove symmetry, because the cloth is not really symmetrical. So I kind of want to keep that in mind. And I'm going to add the hat first. The hat should start somewhere over here. Let's just go into side view. And then select everything from here to here. If you want to use a line tool and you can see that the gradient goes in the wrong direction, you can press F and then move it slightly, and then you flip the way, I guess you flip the side of the gradient. There you go. I want to keep it pretty close. There you go. Let's create the top part first. Ta-da! Looks kind of like a Pez. Let's see if we can make this, turn this into a hat. It's, I think maybe a little bit too high now. That's better. Make it nice and sharp here. Maybe we can even smooth it just to make it sharp. There you go. I wonder, I mean, you know, there are so many different ways you can, I guess, work on a PC You could use a graphics tablet, you can use a trackpad, you could use a mouse, you could use a these what are they called? Well, you could use a controller, I guess. There are probably even more things you could use. Okay. Oh, no, never mind. Okay. I actually want to add the eyes first. Otherwise, I don't know if I will clip through something. So let's add the eyes first. The eyes should be somewhere over here. We need to add some more volume here. That's why I kind of want to create those first, because we need to go higher than what we have right now. There you go. We also need to push them out a little bit because they are too slanted. Okay. There you go. Look at him. He's so happy. Perfect. This might be too far forward. Too far back, but we're gonna keep it there. Who cares? We don't have time for these small details. Dance mat, yeah, like a Dance Dance Revolution mat. I don't know if that would work, but maybe. Or only sculpting with a keyboard, controlling the cursor that way. I mean, if you could use you know, if you could use a controller, you can probably also just use WASD to move around, maybe. Of course, you could do the same in a VR, in VR2. So that's another way how you could sculpt. Is there? Like a, what are they called? Yeah, I guess the fighting stick. Yeah. The one where you just have like a small, like one joystick on this small thingy, and then you have two buttons to do whatever. We have 12 minutes, so that's plenty. Perfect. Let's kind of refine everything. That's better. I wanted to make it thinner here at the end, because it looked very, very wide before. Too wide for my taste. So I just push it together a little bit. There you go. Hammer buttons and kick help. Okay. Oh, we need the nose too. Let's add the nose real quick. Could be somewhere over here. Maybe a little bit higher. Maybe it's say here. There you go. Okay. We can add smaller cracks later. That's not really what I want to focus on right now. There you go. Let's add the hat. It really looks like a Pez right now. Let's add the brim. Oh, we can probably go back into this view. And we can just select this and add it. There you go. We can then do this. Aha. Perfect. Invert. And we can use this. I wish the inflate function would actually create new geometry. I guess it works this way too, but it just kind of looks weird. Yeah. I would need to do it in one brush stroke, otherwise it doesn't work. Because you can see how it fans out now. I wanna avoid that. I guess we can just use the snake hook brush now to extend it even more if we even need to. Oh wow. We have some interesting artifacts here. I want to keep it pretty clean. And thinner, definitely. That's better. Okay, now at least everything has geometry. Almost everything. Let's just quickly go into here, use the good old simplify brush to add geometry to everything. I think this is one of my favorite brushes now. Just the way it looks in this view. Just looks so cool. How it changes the structure and makes everything nice and organized. Look at it. Beautiful. Where am I? There you go. Perfect. YouTube, I saw how they made a 3D model in VR eyes on the back of the head. What? In VIA eyes on the head? I actually saw some videos where they created stuff in like where they sculpted stuff in VR actually like a year ago or so. It's been around for a while. Probably the tools probably have improved. I would actually not I would actually not be surprised if Blender at some point, maybe Blender 4.0 would release a VR version. That would not surprise me, to be honest. It would actually be pretty cool. Because then you wouldn't have to get used to another program, you can just use that one. And it would probably also be free, you know, which probably most sculpting software isn't. Or Blender on your iPad or phone. Sculpting on your phone, that would be pretty cool. I think there's actually a good sculpting software on iPads or on iPhones. I don't know if there's one for Android users though. That's the only thing that I'm missing. If I'm like somewhere else, I can't really sculpt anything. But I want to, you know, I can draw, but I can't sculpt. Would be cool if there, you know, if there was like a good sculpting software to do that. Like a good one, not just like some gimmick. Like, hey, you've never sculpted before, try this. You can touch the model. I mean, you can create your own, you can sculpt your own girlfriend and then you can hang out with her in your own sculpted world. Or boyfriend, of course. Or whatever. Alien. There you go. The head is pointing up, which doesn't look that great. Do I care though? I guess I do. Hopefully if we set it to linear, the fall-off will help us a little bit more here. Yeah, that's better. Perfect. Otherwise it would create like a curve, which it does there too, but I don't think it's that strong. If we use smooth, I think the curve on the brim would be stronger. There you go. Okay. Oh. Okay. Let's 5 minutes, perfect. Let's go to the cloth. An elf, maybe. Whatever you want, you know, it's your own world. You remember that game Dream that came out on PlayStation? It is basically the simplified version of Blender. You can do whatever you want. But with a few, I guess, restrictions. Actually, well, yeah, I have never really understood how it works. Like Dream. But I think it's, you know, just like a, you know, I guess a sandbox where you can build whatever. And other people can then download it and play it. You can create your own like systems and like wind conditions or whatever, your own AI, I think, too. It was pretty cool to see. For some reason, it just didn't, I guess, didn't work, or it wasn't really that popular, which was kind of surprising. Maybe the sandbox or the sort of materials, or I don't know, the game overall wasn't that great. You know, if you have a good sandbox, you still need good tools to work in that sandbox. Maybe that was the problem. Who knows? I don't. There you go. It's not going to look perfectly like cloth, but at least it looks better with that than without anything. Looks more like some bandages right now, but who cares, okay? I don't. Maybe you do. If you do, then do it better. Okay, there you go. Then we need some more details. So we have the hat. We have the mask. We can probably go into the cloak a little bit. We have 3 minutes left. That should be just enough time. Let's see what we can do here. There you go. Add some folds here and there. Bring them all together. Like this. Well, this looks weird, but I'm gonna keep it anyway. Because I want to have it here. Blade Doctor has many of these bandage robes. Doesn't he usually have like this sort of leather suit instead of like bandages? Because he needs to cover his entire body to not, you know, get the plague. Wouldn't he normally have like a full-on suit that is like sewn together and only has like one opening or so? Instead of just, you know, wrapping bandages around his neck and head. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe. I wonder if these things actually worked back in the day. Didn't they also put like, what are they? These spices or whatever in there, so they wouldn't smell the plague, I guess. That was the idea. Pretty cool, or pretty funny. Imagine if that actually worked. If you can't smell the plague, it's not there anymore. Just put on like air conditioner everywhere and you're just good to go. Just hang a what is it, like a one of these trees that you put in your car. Put that in your in front of your face and you're good. Never need to worry about plagues anymore. The cold, just grab an air conditioner. Okay, that's definitely better than before. Not perfect, but better than before. Let's kind of strengthen the edge right here. Create some sort of pseudo seam line. Perfect. There were perfume in the nose and people were walking with flowers in their pockets. Back in the day when they had like the plague. Or do you mean just in general? Was that a trend at some point? It was recommended to take showers, baths of sun. Okay. Yeah, I only know about the sort of like what the masks were and how they like used them or why they used them. Okay. You know what? Oh. We have 13 seconds. I think we're good. You know what? Let's add a few more cuts in here. And there you go. We have everything that we need. Perfect. Okay. Finished. Hold on. Let's finish the sculpt by grabbing the good old line project tool and just remove all this. Perfect. That's amazing. Okay. We have everything that we need. Let's go to lighting. Let's save it real quick. There you go. Let's see how big it is. We can probably make it a little bit bigger. The hat looks kind of small. It kind of looks like a straw hat. But I guess now it's too late. Let's see what we can do here. So let's light the whole thing. Dr. Corona. Yeah, maybe. You know, maybe if we would be better off if we would still have these Plague Doctor outfits. Maybe then Corona wouldn't have been such an issue. Maybe everybody should have just run around in these. Could have been the new trend. Maybe that was the solution. But everybody just said, ah, it's old. Doesn't work anymore. But everybody was wrong. Name ideas? Oh, okay, yeah. What would be the title for this one? For the quick sketch? The ultimate coronation? What does coronation actually mean? Hold on. Let's see. Coronation. Oh, that actually fits quite well. Crowning, culmination, high point, coping stone. Okay, the camera is in the right position. Let's add the lights and the materials. There it is. Do we need eyes? We actually don't, but we can still grab it because then we can we have the material, then we need the lights too. There it is. What do we have here? We have this one. Should we make it pretty... Oh, let's make it pretty sharp. So we have a very, very strong shadow. Very sharp shadow. Like this. For 500 sounds pretty good. That looks pretty cool. I like that one. Somewhere right there. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Then let's ease the shadows on this side. Oh, we need to reduce the, I guess, surrounding light strength. We need one more. Right there. That works pretty well. There you go. The eyes look kind of... They don't really... You can really see them. We can maybe dig into them just quickly. So we can actually, you know, make them darker. This should be on this side. I feel like this should be green, but I feel like we've already used green recently. We can see. We have the rim light here. Put it on this side. Perfect. Later I will look again. I need to go. So good stream. Okay. Have a good day, Crow. Like we're joining. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Let's get rid of this. Okay, let's go back to the eyes real quick. Just dig into them a little bit more. And as I always say, the easiest way to dig into a mesh is by using the crease brush. I don't know why, but the crease brush is very, very strong. So you can see how much I can remove with just a single stroke. If I do that with the clay strip brush, for example, it takes ages to do the same. if we use, let's see what else we could use. We could use the sculpt draw, full strength. Oh, that's also very good. Sculpt draw might also be a good option. Look at that. Okay. I'm gonna bring it all the way into the middle. There it is, that's the middle. You can see when it gets flat that we reach the middle. Because it doesn't want to go over to the other side. Obviously, because we have symmetry enabled. There you go, that should be good enough. Peace crow. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Oh, yeah, which color? Let's see. Which color haven't we used for a while? We've used blue or cyan. We've used pink. Purple. Oh, we can use green. Nice, that's nice. Okay, let's use green. Where's my color? There it is. Something like this nice vibrant green here. Oh, yeah, like poison green. Maybe, I think 1000 should be enough. Yeah, perfect. Change the color here too. Nice. Oh, that's maybe a little bit too strong. What if we set this to 0.5? I actually want to keep this. What about 2? Oh. Yeah. We can maybe then even use another rim line just to kind of highlight the side more. Yeah, like that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Watched your channel recently. Love your stuff. Thank you. Welcome, Iman. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday. Have you discovered or found this channel or the other one, the videos channel? Just curious. Okay. I think we're ready to go to post-production. You know what? I'm gonna put the focus a little bit lower so we can see a little bit of the clothing too. There you go. Perfect. You know what? No, I kind of want to focus on the head more, so I don't want to push it too high. We also need to enable depth of field. Base, project individual elements. Okay. And then set the depth of field to 0.4. Perfect. By crow or peace crow? I don't know, that sounds... I don't know. Let's do the quick test render so we can do the post-production. This channel was looking around for in-depth sculpting tutorials and one of your videos popped up. Oh, nice. Are you looking for, or do you want to create characters, or just in general just sculpt, like learn sculpting? Peace to crow. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Now I get it. Okay. Well, that was a that was a mistake on my end then. Okay. Let's put that in there. Set it to 7. Oh, hello. There you go. Actually, 7 isn't really visible. It's so bright in itself. I kind of want to keep 7 though. I don't want to flood the character too much with unnecessary color. It's already sort of... I think this is enough. There you go. Time to drink water while this is rendering. Yeah, I think something like the final coronation or whatever could be pretty cool. Could be, you know, like sort of like playing with the like a small wordplay we could use for the name. Let's see. Let's see if we can if I can grab your file. Yeah, I can. Okay. Character design. Yeah, character design is also my favorite, I guess, thing to do in Blender. It's just, I don't know. It's just I've done it when I was drawing, I do it now. It's just my favorite subject, I guess. Or maybe designing in general. I also like sort of like, you know, designing maybe weapons too, but I haven't really delved into that too much. So I would need to probably watch some tutorials just to kind of get the general workflow, kind of get to know it a little bit better. Maybe the technique that they use so that I have a better understanding of, you know, how to do it. Okay. That's the final render. Perfect. PNG, and then there you go. Quick sketch day 277. Perfect. Put that in here. There you go. Okay. Okay. There it is. Yeah, if you ever wanna, you know, get feedback like today, for one of your pieces, or one of your characters, for example, you can join the Discord and then post your own, you know, pieces in the feedback channel, and then we're gonna look at those. The next one will probably be in 2 weeks, the next feedback session. There's one today, and then in 2 weeks again. I think that's a good rhythm. I think that's it gives everybody enough time to post stuff, and gives me, I guess, enough time to do, or I think it's a good balance for me. Okay, I like this. Perfect. Save it. Perfect. Exclamation mark Discord, so you know you get the link. Okay, wait, did I? Okay, perfect. No, hold on. I saved it as a PNG. How's that? How does that work? No, I didn't. PSD. Okay. There it is. Okay. Let's go back to Blender. And we are done with the quick sketch. We can go to the feedback after the compilation. So in 3 minutes, once I've uploaded the image, we will begin with the feedback session. We have, as far as I know, 5 pieces that we're gonna look at. So yeah, I'll, you know, calculate whatever that means for how much time we have for all of them, because I want to spend as much time, or I want to spend equal time on all of them. Yeah, we're gonna look at them and give feedback on them. So let me just quickly upload the image. You're gonna see a quick compilation, as always. You've probably seen it for, you know, multiple times now, but it is still here. We still need it for a good transition. So, yep. I'm going to see you in 3 minutes. Hope you enjoy the compilation, and then we're going to begin with the feedback session. So, hope you enjoy. Here we are, back at it again, ready to go. Hold on, let me just quickly. So we have 60, 50, so 110 minutes. There we go. Wait, what? There it is. 110 divided by 5 is 22. Who would have guessed? So we have 22 minutes for every piece. Let's not waste any time and begin with the first one. Let me just quickly download the one from Passion that they just uploaded, and then we can begin. There it is. We are already at feedback session number 11. That actually surprised me when I set up the folder. It's already been 11 times. We've already done it. Crazy. Okay, let me just set it up real quick and then we can begin. There you go. Okay. Oh, I need to download it, of course. Hold on. I was confused. There it is. Standard download, of course. Yeah, we have a few new submissions, or new people that have submitted. We have a few old ones. It doesn't matter who it is. We're gonna go through from who posted first to who posted last. And if somebody posted 2, of course I'm gonna split these 22 minutes in half. So I'm gonna spend 10 minutes on one, 20 minutes on the other. And if somebody posted 1 and then somebody posted, or another person posted 1 and then they posted after them, so they basically aren't, basically their second piece isn't the second submission, we're still gonna move them together. I think that's just easier to sort of navigate. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Okay, we're ready to begin. Da-da-da. Perfect. Okay. So, there we go. We're going to begin with the first submission, which is by Zaro. He posted, well, I guess, so James posted first, but his is just like a work in progress, I guess. He posted his final version after Zaro, so we're just gonna start with Zaro, and then we're gonna go to James, and then afterwards Mosab. So yeah, we're gonna begin with Zaro, and then we're gonna go to James. So Zaro posted multiple images. He has posted 2 characters, one full body, and one just, I guess, like a portrait, or just like a, you know, what do you call it, like a bust. We're gonna begin with the full body character first. So yeah, let's just begin with that. Let's grab the image and then we can begin. There it is. Let's set up the timer real quick and then we can start. So this is the first one here. There you go. Okay. Perfect. So you can see he posted first of all full body shots and then also 2 from the side. I mean 1 3/4 shot and 1 from the side. I think we're gonna begin with the body first, and then we can go to the face afterwards. So there you go. Perfect. Yeah, let's begin with the body first, and then let's go to this. Okay. There you go. So last time, if I remember correctly, you asked for feedback on your on the body anatomy, and yeah, we gave you some feedback on the body anatomy last time. Of course, if you post full body shots again, we can do the same here too. Let me grab my pen and then we can begin. There it is. Okay. So, first of all, just like a general thing, if you want to learn more, if you want to, I guess you could say, practice anatomy when it comes to the human body, a great resource for anatomy when it comes to learning how, I guess, people move, what changes when they move, what changes when they are in different poses, what does a character look like if they just stand, or a person, I guess you could say, if they just stand, like in a T pose, maybe an A pose, whatever. If you want to know more about how, I guess, that would look, a great resource for that is what we've used on Tuesday and Wednesday, which is the 3D scan store. If you go look it up, 3D scan store, you can see it's already here. The 3D scan store gives you, or they basically sell you, they sell 3D models, 3D scan, or body scans basically, 3D scanned. And they do that, they also show you different poses and all that. So let me just quickly pull up an example. They also, show nude people. So, let's just quickly do this. Let me pull up one to show you what I mean. And then, hold on. There you go. So if you're ever looking for good references that you can use for anatomy references, whether it's just standing or whatever, I think this is one of the best resources to use. There might be other resources, like maybe even just like websites that focus on the body anatomy and fully show you what the body looks like in different poses. Maybe there's a different, like, specific websites for, I guess, an anatomy resource. But I think this is also a great resource for that. Let me show you why specifically this website. Let's just go with one of these here. Actually, no, we're going to use this one. Okay. So, if you look at this, first of all, what they have here is they have these 3D scans. They have different poses, of course, just standing. They also have just like a pose, position. So if you only want to see, what the body looks like in that pose, you can see that too. What's great about these is because they're 3D scanned, they can also remove the skin color and all that, which means you can see only the black and white, I guess you could say, version without the changes in the I guess color changes that would be there if you would have skin. I guess if you would have the skin color, you can purely see the shadows, which perfectly or which I think, in my opinion at least, more easily display the different shapes of the body. So for example, you can see the abs, you can see all the small details here. You can see here, well, that doesn't work. You can see the veins even, and all that small detail that you might not see in skin. You can see that here with these gray and white, these gray models. What you also have, because they are 3D models, you have not only the front and back view, you sometimes also have the side view. So for some others, this one is also an écorché where you can see the muscles and how they, where they are, what they look like. I think one's also a great resource just to kind of see how the body is built. You can see on one side, you can see the bones, and on the other, you can see the muscles plus the veins. So if you're, looking for studying anatomy, I think this is a great resource too. You have here the face, you have the body too, stuff like this. You can perfectly see not only the bones, but also where the muscles sort of fit around the bones here too. This is only an A pose, but of course, for poses might be, you can also use the other references. And then you're in black and white again. So I think this is a great resource. And then we have another one, which is right here. Let me grab one of the ones that we've used yesterday, one of the references for a pose. Go here. I think we've used, not this one, but we've used, where is it? Anatomy references, which is this one. So here, for example, you can see different poses. First of all, there's also a pose group or a pose collection where you can buy all of them at once, I think. And then you can see here all these different poses. For example, if you want to have the A pose, as I said before, you can just select this. Okay, let's see what it looks like. You can then see the side view as well as the front view. And you can also see the back view if you need it, as well as, of course, the face. That's not really what this is for, I guess. You can see the black and white version too, and you can also see all the different angles that you might need. You have the side view from both angles, you have the back and front view, and sometimes you can see here you even have the 3/4 view. So I think this is a great resource for learning anatomy. You can of course also just look for, I think one good thing to learn anatomy is to look for very fit people, whether that's on Instagram or whatever. I think finding very fit people that are very lean so you can see all the muscles, I think that's very useful too, because you can then very easily see where the muscles are, what they look like in different poses, which you might not find here, for example. One thing that I actually have seen in your sculpts is, hold on, not this sort of flailing out of the feet. Generally speaking, of course, feet are flat on the ground. This kind of looks like they're sort of tilted inwards. So if this would be the ground and this is the foot, it kind of looks like it's like this. It's like tilted inwards. That might be because of what shots like these look like. You know, they kind of flail out here. They kind of go in different directions. I think it's just the perspective that might be a little bit deceiving when you look at these images, for example. The camera is, I guess, somewhere on his belly button, which means you can see this region right here underneath the chin, because the camera is underneath the chin. You can see, or you can also see the feet in a specific perspective. If you would have the camera on the feet perspective, the feet would be flat. You wouldn't see like this, I guess, any tilt or whatever. So one thing, I think in general, what you can do, looking at this compared to this, for example, compared to this, what I think is what you can do is you can maybe bring the feet a little bit closer together. So a little bit closer together. It seems pretty wide right now. I think if you would stand normally, well, I can't really show it with fingers, but I think if you would stand normally, your feet are quite close together, even in an A pose, for example. Of course, if you want to make them like spread out a lot, well, no. So I think, you know, if you want to make the legs very far apart, then I think this is okay. But what you then have to account for is that if the feet are still supposed to be flat on the ground, they have to have a certain inward rotation. It kind of looks like right now as if the feet beforehand were more, hold on, more like this. Like this. And then once you rotated them, they now kind of looks like this. Okay, wait, hold on. Like this. So they're like diagonal. What you can do to fix them though, at least the feet, is you can keep this outward rotation if you want to. But then what you need to do is you need to sort of keep the feet flat on the ground. Maybe that's just, you know, how you set up the character. Or, you know, that's yeah, it depends on if you wanted the feet to look like this, just because you move the feet further apart than they were before, and you didn't bother or you didn't want to change the feet, then of course that's not really an issue. But if you want to make it look natural when she's standing like this, or they, I guess, when they're standing like this, then you need to just slightly rotate the feet on the ankle a little bit more into the middle. Yeah. Okay, so we have this. This is also one area that I have trouble with a little bit. If we look at the écorché real quick, I think we can kind of see what this area here specifically is made out of. I think this is a very weird area just because, like, as like sort of solid pieces that make or fill this spot right here, this middle part right here. You have the chest. You have the chest or the like the ribs, I guess you could say, and then you have the hips down here. But then there's like this free space right here where there's just muscle. And I think once you kind of know how these muscles work or where they attach, I think then it gets simpler to kind of fill the space. Because if you kind of don't know, you most of the time know that, you know, the abs are here in the middle. So you can see we have very pronounced abs. But then there's like this sort of hole here, or this dent, which gets filled by the side muscles, the obliques, if I remember correctly from Wednesday. If you look at the écorché real quick, you should see it. So if you look at this, maybe you can even see the female character too. Yeah, there he is. So you can see here, we have the ribs right there. And then the abs span all the way from sort of the middle part here, where it ends, right here. It goes all the way down to the crotch. These are the abs in the middle. And then you have these muscles going from the crotch to around and also high up, covering the space right here in between the ribs and the hip. So if you look at the 3D écorché that I have here, we can also see it. There you go. So you can see here. There you go. So this would be the room that I'm speaking of. It's this space right here. These are the ribs here, somewhere over here. Then here are the hips. But then in between, there's just sort of like this emptiness that needs to be filled. How does it get filled? There are these muscles here. They come from the crotch. They not only go upwards, but also go backwards all the way to here. You can see it. They end right there. So they go from the crotch upwards and fill all this space, basically. You can see here these diagonal lines just going upwards, covering all the side here. These ones are used for sideways rotation. You can actually I guess, see that too. If these muscles, which go diagonally upwards, if they would, so they're connected to the hip and also to the ribs. If they would flex, they would crunch together, which would mean that the middle of the crotch would be pulled to the side, which means you get this sort of rotation in your body. Your chest stays looking forward, but then your hips sort of go in this direction. I can't really show my full body, but maybe you can sort of think of what I mean. So this space is pretty much filled just by these oblique muscles here on the side. And then in the back, you have the lateral muscle, the lats, that go to the upper arm bone. Yeah. So this space is basically, hold on, there you go. If we have the hips, which should be somewhere over here, there you go. The muscles that are right there, we have the abs right there. Perfect. And then we have these muscles that go upwards like this and fill this space right here. There you go. That's what it looks like. There you go. So this is basically just filled by muscles that go up to the ribs like this. Or down here, they sort of go backwards. Okay, yeah. So this is how you can fill the this spot right here. I think the abs sort of stand out a little bit too much than they probably should be standing out. Yeah. Then we have the feet. Those are also good. Let's go to the face. We have 7 minutes left. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah. let's go to the... Actually, no, let's focus on the body for this one, and then maybe next time, you know, if you want to get some feedback on the face too, you can maybe post it again. One thing that I would say you could maybe adjust is the legs maybe a little bit. One thing you can see here in the references too is, generally speaking, the if you're not a bodybuilder, the thighs are thicker than the calves. Even here you can see this is way thicker than the calves. In this one, I think they come pretty close in terms of thickness. I think just kind of reducing the thickness just a little bit can help with the overall look of this too. I think the shape here looks good. We have sort of this downwards diagonal here, which I think is good. This muscle is a little bit deeper than the other one, or lower. Same on this side here. So that's good. I think just kind of reducing the volume just a little bit can help here too. Okay, let's go to the other character real quick. I think, yeah, those are the things here. The feet a little bit closer together, or rotating them a little bit so that they stand flat on the ground. Then filling this up here with some muscles that go from the hip to the ribcage. And then we have the calves. Just kind of reduce the volume just a little bit. I think that can help a lot. Then let's go to the other character. Right here. There you go. Oh. Okay, let's remove all this. Let's pull up another view, the side view. There you go. Okay. I think overall, it looks pretty good. I like what I'm seeing here. I like the diagonal here, so that the nose is the furthest forward, then the upper lip, then the lower lip, and then the chin. I think that's good. The nose, of course, that is more debatable. I think this nose is okay. What you could do, I think one thing that you could think about is moving the nose tip just a little bit lower, so that there's some more room here instead of up here. So just kind of moving the tip just a little bit lower can maybe help a little bit refining the nose tip. Yeah, the tip doesn't necessarily go that much higher than the holds, the nose holds. Right now it kind of looks like there's a lot of space here. Moving that down a little bit can probably help with the general nose shape. If we go to the front view again, I think this looks good here too. Maybe you could think about moving this in just a little bit, add a small curve right here. It's not necessary, but you can, you know, try and see if you like it. Let's go to the front view. One thing that kind of jumps out to me is the lips. They look kind of flat right now. I think one thing you could try, just to use the crease brush a little bit. It kind of looks like they're merged right now because there's this sort of flat space here that reflects the light. Just maybe using the crease brush a little bit to kind of dig in here some more can probably help. Of course, this could just be like a quick sketch or whatever, so you don't, you know, maybe you just said, well, that's okay. You can see where the mouse is. That's one thing you could try. One thing also, we talked about it before, the makeup shape here, where it ends basically on the eyelids, is generally in all the makeup looks that we've seen so far, or we looked at, they end pretty sharply. Right now this is pretty round. I'm guessing because you use a round brush and then you just ended it here, maybe. You can also then use the negative brush of that and just remove this part here to make the ending here a little bit sharper. I think that can help a lot too. More like this. There you go. And then we do the same here too. There you go. Like this. I think that can enhance the makeup a little bit here. There you go. Yeah. I think the eye shape is good. It just slightly touches the lower eyelid. I think that's good. The lips look kind of puckered right now. Look just a little bit like this. It could be. Let's see the side view. Maybe it helps if you just move the corner of the mouth just a little bit further back. Generally, in a profile view, the nose is the nostril. The ending of the nostril is roughly either where the corner of the mouth is, or the corner of the mouth is slightly further back than the ending of the nostril right here. I think it could also just help to use a crease brush again and just dig in here just a little bit to create some more depth here. That could help too, because right now it kind of looks pushed forward. I think just adding a little bit more depth here can help in fixing that. Yeah. Of course, in this one, well, maybe not in this one, but the other one, the hair sort of going through the face. It could be just that you use interpolated hair, or you use the... If you use interpolated hair, that could just be that there are not enough hair parents, or it could be that, you know, you just, you know, put some parents, if you don't use interpolated hair, somewhere over here. You know, if they're parent hair, then it's pretty simple to fix. If they're interpolated hair, then you kind of have to try and fix it, I guess, by placing a few more parents here and there. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's all for these characters. So the nose tip, maybe just move it a little bit down. Lip, just add a little more depth by using the crease brush a little bit, or maybe even the draw sharp brush, whatever you like more. Then going to the makeup, adding some more, making the endings a little bit sharper. I think that can help a lot. They look less bold than more elegant, I would say. So they kind of accentuate the sort of look that you know you were going for here on in the end here, for example, with this wing. And then we have the body. For that, we said the feet, either rotate them inwards a little bit so that they are flat on the ground, or you just move the legs overall just a little bit further inwards. And then there you go. Oh, this part here, you can fill it up with some muscles that go up to the ribs. Yeah. Welcome, Kevin. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday. I really have difficulty on what focal length to use in Blender. I just use the standard 50 millimeters. I think 80 is also okay. I think a range between 50 and 80 should be good. You know, some people like 80, some people like maybe even a little bit more than 80. The higher the focal length you use, the less the sculpts or whatever the objects get distorted by perspective. So the closer you are, the more you see distortions, for example. That gets reduced by higher focal length. It just depends on if that's something you, I guess, you can oversee or you kind of get tricked by it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Hope those tips were helpful. Let's go to the next one, which is from James. James posted his character, which is Mr. I can't remember his name. Does he actually have a name? I don't even know. Did he post an image? Let's see. So he posted these images. Did you also post an image? You have a video on your ArtStation. I think for this one the image you posted were the reference. Maybe we can even import that image here. Let's see. So we have the reference here. What if we put that in here? Does that work? Oh, it actually does. Perfect. Well, not really though. Hold on. No. Okay, well, let's just go to Photoshop then. Okay, so we have the black and white view. I think one tip, if you want to show off your models, that can help a lot. Right now it kind of looks like it's hard to distinguish the character, the gray, like black and white character from the background. I think one thing you can do is you can use the node setup that I have here in my thingy, for example. So what I use as the background node setup, the way how I can change the background to a completely different color without affecting the model, is I use this setup here. So I have two background nodes, one for the lighting and one for the background color. Then I use a mix shader to combine the two, and I separate the color that you can see from the color that affects the scene. So this is camera ray basically says if you can see it, then it's activated. If you can't, no, wait. If the camera can see it, then show this. If you can't see, if the camera can't see it, then show this. Which means if we go to rendered view here, the background back there, the camera can see. So it makes it orange, for example. But the background behind the camera is not visible. So this node is activated and you can change the lighting of the world here. That's sort of how it works. So now if you just use the setup, mix shader, 2 background nodes, light path is camera ray into the factor. You can use 1 background node for the lighting color and 1 for the background color, which then helps you in distinguishing the background from the original or the actual, I guess, character. So for example, for the circle or for this sphere, if we set it back to saturation 0, some sort of gray here, same here, you can see it kind of merges together. It's kind of hard to see. Of course, we have a light back here. If we remove that light, you can see it's pretty hard to see it. There you go, it's completely gone. But with this node setup, what you can do is you can just say, well, why don't I just make this brighter or darker? And this way you can, you can distinguish the background from the character a little bit better. There you go. Or you can also bring in some rim lines, for example, that you put behind the character. And this way you can create these nice sharp outlines of light around the character, which also help, I guess, remove the character from the background, make it clear where the character ends and where the background begins. Yep. Okay. So you can see here the 360-degree view for the character, and then we have the colored version. Okay. I think I want to go with this one. I think this one is a little bit clearer. There you go. So, one thing I think that you've done. Wait, what is that? Why does the eye change? So I see in the reference, the dude has like this sort of line eye, this fake eye with this line in the middle, like a goat, which you've adopted here too. But for some reason, it's not visible at some point. Maybe that's just like an Eevee thing. But yeah, that's a good hit from here. There you go. So what I've noticed is, first of all, as you said, you've used my procedural skin material, and you've used the I think what I see here is also the hair kit. You've used the hair kit, if I see that correctly. So you've added here these few curves here to create the hair, and then you used a few more, maybe 2 curves, to create the eyebrows. Let's look at the reference real quick. Okay. One thing I think you can do is, generally, I think if you just want to block out the hair, for example, I think this works. I think this can look good. If you want to make a little bit more detailed here, of course, you can split this big hair into smaller ones. For example, if you look at the reference, you can see here there are all these small strands, which you added a little bit here for these two, for example. You can see these smaller strands. But what gets kind of lost here is these smaller, you can see here in the silhouette how you have these smaller hairs poking out. I think you can create those by breaking up these big curves into smaller ones and just combine a few different ones to create like a specific hair flow, and also create this sort of silhouette that you can see here for the hair here. Just gonna make it look more like it's their individual strands rather than just, I guess, one big shape. So that's one thing you could do. Overall, let's look at the likeness. Of course, this is depends on what kind of reference you maybe take. The skin is a little bit more orangey, or I guess more beige, you could say. More saturated. You could maybe play around with these settings a little bit. What could be is that, I don't know what the basic skin shader is set up with, but I think the subsurface scattering is like the standard for the subsurface scattering setting in my procedural skin shader is set to red. It could be on white. If you set it to red, then the character should look a little bit more alive, I guess, because then it shows that there's like blood underneath the skin. If it's already red, then maybe you just need to either increase the subsurface scattering just a little bit, maybe to 0.1 or 0.2 or 0.15 might be better. Or you just, you could just play around with the skin tone a little bit with the base color to come a little bit closer to this, for example. Yeah. Of course, this is a stylized character, so we can't really go fully with the normal proportions. A mouth wouldn't perfectly go into this butt-shaped chin, for example. The nose wouldn't be that big, and then the eyes wouldn't be different sizes. But we can take this and see, and we can compare it to this one to kind of see maybe what you can improve. One thing that I see is the ear shape. For him, the ear shape is actually quite just like a C shape without the small of... Well, we have the earlobe here, but the earlobe doesn't really add more to the silhouette. You can see it's basically just a round... Well, why do I have brown selected? There you go. We can see it's basically just a C shape that goes like this. You can see the earlobe here a little bit, but if I would draw it in here, you can see it wouldn't really change much in the overall shape. This small dent doesn't really do much. If you compare it to yours, for example, you can see we have something like this. So the dent is much bigger than in the reference, for example. The one thing you could try is just kind of turn this more into a C shape, for example. And maybe even push the earlobe a little bit higher. You can see here the ear roughly ends where the nose is. I think yours is a little bit lower than the nose, somewhere over here. So maybe just pushing it up a little bit can help here too. Yeah. Wait. Oh no. I didn't set the timer. When did I start? Oh no. I think it was... We probably... Let's say... Let's do 10 more minutes. Wait. We started 20... I can't remember. Oh no. Yeah. Okay. 10 more minutes. Okay. No, wait, hold on. 23 minus wait, let me just quickly do this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I got it. I don't know if we're already in overtime. I don't know. Let's go over a few things here. So I like the cheekbone. I think the cheekbone looks good. One thing that is different is the eye, definitely. If you try to get the likeness, this eye is white or grayish, I guess, or I guess you could say white with a black iris or black cube-like iris. This one is black with a white iris. Of course, that could just be, personal preference. Maybe you said, well, I want to have it this way. If you want to stick to the reference here, then you would probably need to make it white. And then the stripe here should be black. No, this one looks... Here are these things, which you also have in the reference here, right there. That's good. I think one thing that you could do is you could probably pull the neck, the collar a little bit higher. You can see here, maybe it's just because he's sort of punched forward or the camera is pointing, coming, or looking at him from higher than he is, from a higher position, it moves sort of higher over his neck. Generally speaking, if you have like suits, for example, the collar in the back at the spine basically is the highest, and then it kind of slopes down into the front and the middle of the front. So I think one thing you could do, it kind of looks like it slopes down again right here, or it stays level here. I think you can just kind of move it higher just a little bit to finish it off like this. We have this here. Maybe even move it up a little bit. The eye. The hair. I think the nose is pretty good. It looks, I think maybe you could round it out a little bit more. You can see here this curve. It gets sharper than here. It looks a little bit flatter, and then it gets sharper again. We have the same for the chin. You can see it's not like a round shape. It's more like sharp, flat, and then sharp, flat, and sharp again. So it's not like a perfect circle. Maybe you could round it out a little bit more there if you want to, by either just adding some more here to pad it out, or to just kind of smooth this area. This would make the chin a little bit smaller, but maybe it doesn't look too bad. Yeah. I like that you've added the eyelids. There you go. I think that's good. Maybe, actually, his eyes are quite small. Maybe you can reduce the eye size just a little bit. I think they're for him, they're quite small. Yeah, but that would be sort of my my feedback for this. You know, this one is okay. We don't need this. Let's oh well. Okay, and let's not do that then. The collar can be a little bit higher in the back. The ear can maybe be a little bit smaller, so you push the earlobe a little bit higher, and then kind of remove this dent here, or alleviate this dent, push it out a little bit in this direction, so we have a more like a C shape. This eye needs to be white if you want to stick to the reference, and then the iris should be black. And maybe split the big strands that we have here into smaller ones. You know, there's multiple ones here and there to create a more hair-like appearance, and slow it. There you go. And then you can maybe also round the nose, for example, out a little bit, as well as the chin. Yep. I think that's all for now. I think that's, you know, likeness sculpting can be pretty hard, but I think overall the look looks pretty similar. You know, of course, you don't have the exact same pose and the same expression, so it might be a little bit different. It might look a little bit different, of course, because you don't have the reference. I mean the pose. But I think these changes can bring you a little bit closer to him. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Let's go back to Blender. The next one is by Mosa. He just arrived, I guess. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Your Thursday. Yeah. He submitted his character. He posted him before in the welcome, or in the lobby before. He added some clothing. So let's look at the clothed character now. There you go. Let's make a new file just so we don't get confused, or I don't get confused. Okay. There you go. Let's go with this one. Okay. There you go. So, we're back to clothing. We've talked about clothing before. I think, there's one thing that I always talk about when it comes to clothing that I think you can do too, to drastically improve the quality of the clothing. But that depends on how detailed you want to get. Let's go to, so this one of course has more like cell shading, so it's more comic-y or anime-like. It's supposed to kind of adopt the comic look rather than like a more realistic look. Let's look at a quick reference that I want to see, which is Attack on Titan. And I want to show you a specific thing here. So if you look at them, maybe not this one. This one? Can we see a better? Well, that's quite small. Let's see. So, okay, this one is pretty good. I think this is actually from the, like this is just a screenshot from a scene. Maybe we can even look at this one. This one. Okay. So, let's go back to Blender. There you go. So one thing, there's one difference that you can see here if you compare this one to yours. You said you posted your reference. Ah, there you go. Okay. So this is, I guess, a recreation of or a I guess, you know, you wanted to create a 3D model out of the character design that you or somebody else made. So we can see this is, I guess, the main reference. Is this more mainly for the clothing, or is this basically... No, I guess this is the character, and then this is another inspiration for him. Probably for the clothing. So, okay. So if you actually posted the inspiration, that's even better. I think there's one big difference comparing this one to yours that you can do to instantly improve your clothing. And that is adding some seam lines. Looking at this one, let's see what the difference is between this one, this character, and yours. The easiest way to see seam lines, what seam lines are basically the lines where you sew the different pieces of cloth together, so you can create a piece of, like, you know, a jacket, for example. With the jacket, for example, you have sleeves, you have a middle piece, and then you have like the cut in the middle, of course. So you might even have 2 middle pieces, or 4. Usually for a t-shirt, you would have one for the front and one for the back. You would have one sleeve piece and then one sleeve on the other side. So you would have these pieces, and then you would sew them together to create the t-shirt. Where you sew them together, we get these seam lines. So basically these either deeper or these bumps in the cloth that show you where the seams are, where the 2 pieces of cloth are basically sewn together. They're not merging together, they're not becoming one material, they just sort of stick together. So there's this crease visible. This crease... Oh, hold on. Oh no. Okay. The crease, you can see them here too. Let's look at the original image. Let's look at some creases here. One seam line is right here for, as we said, the sleeves. So the sleeves are individual pieces of cloth that then get sewn together with the middle piece, the chest piece, which you can see here. Here's the seam line. You can also see it in a t-shirt, for example. If you look at my t-shirt, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a seam line right here that goes down and around, and then also in the back, all the way to the front again, and then it merges together here. And then how you sew together the sleeve is you have one cut down here. So this is basically just like a flat piece that has been sewn together here to be a cylinder, and then it's been sewn together to the middle piece, which is this one here, to create the t-shirt. Yeah, so one thing you can do to kind of add some more detail and some more definition into the clothing is, for example, add a seam line here. Like this, for example. Same here. Wait. There you go. Another one you could do down here. On this side too. This one might not be visible in this view, but I'm going to add it here just so we can keep it in mind. Then what you can also do, generally speaking, for jackets, for example, or any time, for example, a t-shirt or whatever ends, you have a you reinforce the edge so that the cloth doesn't fall apart, basically, because they're just individual strings just kind of put together in a certain way. To prevent the string to just, you know, kind of going like not sticking together anymore, what you can do is you can reinforce the edge. What you do is you grab this piece of cloth and then you fold it in half and then you sew it together right here. This way the edge is made out of these individual pieces of strings, but out of the middle of the cloth. So there's nothing that can really sort of frizzle out or frizz out or whatever. It's all still, it's reinforced. The way you can add that to your jacket, for example, is on the edge right here. You could add a small seam line that just goes from here all the way around and sort of indicates that it has been sewn or that the edge has been reinforced right here. Like this. So what I always say when it comes to clothing is you can look up seam, what are they called? Sewing patterns, to see how you actually create a piece of clothing. And that can very, very easily help you in, wait, can you actually change the color? Hold on. Oh. There you go. So you can actually see what it looks like if you would add them. Okay. Didn't you know you gave critic of anime style character? I mean, if somebody posted, then why not? I'm not, what is it? I'm not, you know, excluding anybody. You can also post drawings if you want. I might not be, you know, the best to critique it, but I can give you some critique, you know, it doesn't have to be on technique or whatever. Yeah, so you can do that here too. And then go here, this way. Just kind of reinforcing the edge and adding just a little bit more detail to the overall look of the jacket. If you look at the reference, you can see that that's not the case. They have added the seam line for the sleeves, but they haven't added it to the edge right here. That could, you know, you could say, well, it might look better if you add it. It also might not, you know. This one might be more personal preferences, but I would say adding it there could help a lot. If you look at real, let's look at real references real quick. What about jacket? See, for example, here, this one. You can see all these seam lines here. You can see a seam line right there for the sleeves. You can see a double seam line here where the edge has been wrapped around, folded, and then sewn together. That's what you can see here, the reinforced edge. You can see the reinforced edge here in the middle too, going all around the edge here. Same for the sleeve. And then up here too. Seam line right there. Seam line right here on the shoulder too. Shoulder is also very important. You can see it here too. Sometimes t-shirts, for example, don't have this line, but it helps a lot when you create pieces of clothing. Okay, so yeah, you could add a line right here too if you want. I will try for sure. Oh, try. Yeah. Yeah, one thing that I wanted to show you is if you look up sewing pattern, you can see how different pieces of clothing are made. So you see, for example, this piece, how do you make it? Well, this one's not that great. Doesn't really show how it's made. Let's go to, let's see, do we have a good one? Oh, let's sewing pattern t-shirt. There you go. This is all that you need for a t-shirt. You need 2 of these. No, you need, yeah, 2 of each of these. And then 2 of these. This is for the sleeves. This piece right there. This is for the sleeves. You would sew together on these ones to make a cylinder out of it. A cylinder. And then you would sew this line onto this one. To create a, to combine the sleeve with the middle piece. Then you would sew these together here. Same here and here. to create the middle part of the t-shirt. You would need 4 of these because you need 2 for the front and 2 for the back. Sometimes it's also different where these 2 pieces are merged in the middle here. So you would only have this piece to merge together, but then you need 2 of these for the front and 1 for the back. So these sewing lines can also help a lot when you want to kind of figure out how a piece is sewn together and where the seam line should be. Especially, for example, for stuff like for gloves, it can be quite complex. There are different ways how you can sew together gloves, I guess you could say. There are some that have been sewn together just like around the fingers. Some are a little bit different. It just all comes down to what style you like and which, you think looks best. Yeah, so that's one thing you can do to improve the clothing. Another thing that kind of stuck out to me is this line right here. Oh, you can't see my line. Can I add another one? I guess not. Let's just set it back to blue. There you go. Another thing is this here. Generally speaking, of course, clothing can it's helpful for UVs. What do you mean? The seam lines or the oh, you mean these patterns can also, these ones are very useful if you want to set up the UVs for clothing too. Even for characters. For example, legs can be retopologized just like pants, for example. This kind of stuck out to me. It looks like it's perfectly fitted onto, or it's basically perfectly following the shape of the chest. Generally speaking, looking at the reference, for example, the more layers of clothing you have on top of your skin, the less they sort of follow the shape of your body. So if you're like a bodybuilder and you have like a t-shirt, a hoodie, and then a jacket on top, the jacket will not really follow like the chest, for example. Even though the chest might be gigantic, you can't really see like the curvature of the chest on the jacket because you have so many layers that kind of pad the they kind of even out the deep sort of shape, which then means that the jacket doesn't really follow that anymore. It also depends on how strong or how sturdy, how bendable, and how thin your material is or your cloth is that you use for the clothing. So if your cloth is very, very sturdy, like leather, for example, or like polyester, I think also too, that might deform a little bit less than when you have, for example, stuff like, what are they called? Normal fabric that you would use for t-shirts, for example. I think that would, it's a little bit softer, it's a little bit lighter, and that would probably follow the shape of the body a little bit more than, for example, these very, very strong materials that you use for a trench coat, for example. Yeah. So maybe just smoothing this out can help. I think you can keep this shadow, but this shadow kind of was very, very strong. I think if you just get rid of this, this could help. Yeah. So you can kind of indicate that there's like a slight dent here. But this might be a little bit too strong. You could see what it looks like without and with and without it, and decide for yourself. Yeah, but this kind of stuck out to me. This could all. Oh, maybe these are just pockets. If they are pockets, then of course that's the difference. That's different. They could also be pockets. If you look at the reference, the pockets are diagonal. Maybe you wanted to make your own pockets. If they're pockets, then of course it's different. Then one thing you can try is you can also, for these, reinforce the edge here if you want to. Although if they're pockets that aren't sewn onto the jacket, but they're actually part of the jacket, there's like a slit in the packet in the jacket, then you would probably not have a reinforcement of the edge. It depends on what you what type of pocket you have here. Yeah. If it's a pocket that is sewn onto the jacket, then you would have something like this. There you go. Like this. That's what you would have. If it's just a pocket that is sort of inside of the jacket, then you wouldn't really see much more than this. You could maybe, if you wanted to, add like a flap on top, like this, to kind of shut it, but that's more optional. is printed shadow. Okay, yeah. So if it's a shadow, you can try what it looks like without it. Okay. Oh, okay. So there are two more things that I see that you can consider. One of them is adding maybe a little bit more detail to the, what is that, like a, not overall, but sweater, and then to the pads right here. Right now you can see the pads are basically black, or dark at least. If you look at the reference, you can see here, they have this cross pattern here that you can maybe even add to yours too. It doesn't need to be a geometry that deforms. You can also just add like a bump map maybe if you want to, or just lines if you want to too, to kind of emulate that look like this. There you go. So yeah, if you want to do that and you want to stick closer to the reference, that's one thing you can consider. Also, you can see here the seam line going around the pad because it's basically sewn onto the jacket. That's what you can see here. So what you could also consider is adding one more line here around the pad to emulate that. There you go. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is the sweater. If you look at the sweater is basically not just like a flat sweater. It has these I don't know what you would call like this zigzag texture. I have actually one of those these sweaters myself. Hold on. Here it is. You can see what I mean. Oops, sorry. So if you look at the texture here, that's what I mean. This sort of texture with these deeper creases and then these, you know, this zigzag, these lines that you can see here. That's what it looks like in the reference. You could maybe emulate that just by, you know, just like this image, just adding some lines here, following the folds, and then of course the general flow of the sweater, like this, for example. Maybe that's, you know, they should be closer together, but you know, like this, to kind of, you know, create some, to follow the reference a little bit more if you want to, or if you want to keep it flat, then of course that's your own, I guess, design. Okay. Oh yeah, for the here too, you can reinforce the edge a little bit right there. Generally what you have for sleeves is you have something to tighten them a little bit. So if you look at the jackets here, hold on. This one is different because he pulled it up, or maybe it ends right here. It looks like he folded it up so that it's not going past his elbow. But if you look at other jackets, for example, this one here, you can see how it tightens at the end. You can see here how it, like this. I don't know exactly why, but first of all, I guess just to reinforce the edge down there, but then also kind of probably you just fit better onto the arm. Otherwise, it would just be like a wide open hole, which probably looks kind of weird. So that's what you can oftentimes see here too. Well, that's a small image. Let's see. Here too. See, these sort of, I don't know what they're called, like these rubber thingies there, just to tighten the cloth a little bit right there. For this one, that would be one where you don't have that. It's still sort of reinforce the edge right there, but it's not necessarily tightened. I think you can still do that if you want to, because there's like a button at the end which you can then put the cloth, or you know, you can tighten it yourself if you want to. But here you can see what it looks like when you don't have this tightened sort of ending. You can see here these endings too, here too. So in general, you have these sort of endings that are more, you know, that have these sort of rubber or whatever they are, these bands to tighten the end of the sleeve a little bit. Like this. Which then would probably look something like this. There you go. Okay. Yep. For the pants, you can consider seam lines too, that they would go somewhere over here in the middle, and then on the outside they would be here. Then strengthen. And then here for the crotch, you would have something like this. There you go. Yep. I think you actually, did you adjust the face? I think you've adjusted it a little bit, right? If you look at the front view, I think you've adjusted it a little bit. We talked about some changes you can consider before. One thing was to bring the eyes a little bit closer together. I think you've done that. Yeah, of course the difference from the one that you've posted in the lobby and this one is of course the clothing. One thing that I always sort of that comes up a lot when you look at clothing is seam lines. Seam lines are very important to make cloth look realistic, because cloth isn't just made out of one piece that is merged together and then put onto you. You know, it's made out of smaller pieces of fabric that has been sewn together. So keeping these seam lines in the model too, or showing them, is a very, very simple way to, you know, to make the, first of all, to add more detail to the clothing, but also make it look more believable, more realistic, basically. Going back to the reference that we had here, you can see here we have the same seam line there. We don't have that many anywhere else. I think they, you know, they stay quite simple. They don't have any reinforced edges anywhere here, but at least they have the one for the sleeve right there. Leg 2. Yeah. Well, we can't really see the legs, but yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Maybe what you can consider is, if you look at real quick at feet. Can we go back to 3D scan store? There it is. Let's see. Can we have a 3/4 view? There's one. Oh. Oh, okay, that's the maximum, I guess. Where am I? Oh, hello. Okay. So looking at feet, feet are quite flat. They have a certain slope, which is on the inside. But maybe what you can try is, especially on the outer region here, to just kind of flatten this area here a little bit. It kind of looks like this right now, but I think it would maybe look better if we do it more like this. There you go. There you go. Yeah. So maybe, you know, the 3D scan store can help you too. So you can see here, it is pretty high on the inner part of the foot, so where the toe is, but then it sort of slopes down, as you can see the line here. So this region here is pretty flat actually. As you can see here, it kind of hides behind this slope here. So you can maybe try and move this a little bit lower to kind of flatten the foot a little bit. Yeah, that's one thing you can try if you want to. Yeah, that's basically everything that I had in mind. I think it looks pretty cool. I like the shader. I like the hair. Did you use a gradient for the hair? I think you did. It looks like it. Yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. I like it. Let's go to the next one. The next one has been posted by Sergio. he posted his astronaut buried in the ground. He said the main idea was that the ground was snow, but it got complicated, and I switched to a dirt texture and added flowers to match the scene. Let's look at his. For his, I actually want to go to Photoshop because I want to show a few things you can adjust in post-production, actually. There you go. Okay, so let's talk about the execution first before we go to post-production, because, you know, let's go from one to the other in order of what you would do. I like the model. I like that you've added, or I don't know, of course, if you've done it yourself, the model, then good job. It looks really, really good. You've added seam lines, you added some textures. That looks good. This one looks kind of as if it's clipping together. That could just be me though. Overall, I like the model a lot. I think it looks really good. You have, you know, more textures here. I think, yeah, it looks good. I like it. The flowers, I think, also look very good. I like the petals. They have different shapes. They have different colors. And they don't just sort of... Oh, that is actually one thing that I see right now. Oh, no. Okay. Let's look at the flowers. So I like that you've added different petals here. You know, the petals look detailed. They don't just have, like... You didn't just use a plane and shaped it into a petal. You actually probably added a texture with a transparency to create this sort of broken end here, or this rippled end there, which I like. Make it more realistic, so that's good. I like the colors that you've used. I think that fits well together. This green, what you could consider is you could maybe go into the color of the mud shader. I've used that one a lot too. Maybe change the leaves to a greener color, or change the added leaves that you've added on top of the grass to a different color. Of course, what always helps is adding different color, like not having a single color, especially when you make a realistic scene. Welcome 29. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday. Great content. Thank you. Yeah. So, as we said before in last week, I think, to make something realistic, you add variation to all the different parameters of the shader. So color, roughness, specularity maybe even, and the bump map. The way you can do that here, I think, is you can add a variation into the leaf color of the added leaves. This way, I think you can merge the ground texture with the leaves a little bit better. Right now, they have a very distinct difference to the ground. The ground leaves all look kind of yellowy, and the leaves on top look very, very greenish. If you would kind of think about what that would have, what that would kind of tell in real life, basically, is that the lower layer of leaves wouldn't get as much maybe daylight or nutrition as the leaves on top, which might not be as realistic. It could be. I'm not a nature expert, but it could be. But I think what would maybe look better is that you maybe add a So I think the easiest way you can adjust it is by adding a noise, by using a maybe color and saturation node and putting that in between the ground texture and the the PBS node, or the shader node, to vary the color of the leaves a little bit, so that you add so that you make them, maybe bring them a little bit closer to the leaves that you can see here. We have these very, very dark green, very saturated leaves. Maybe if you either vary them a little bit, make some maybe just as green as these ones, or create a spectrum from this very dark green to this very, very, I guess, yellowish green. I think that can help a lot in merging these, you know, new flowers a little bit together with the ground leaves that you have here. I think the textures in itself work well together. I think that looks pretty good. One thing that I actually just realized, maybe I'm wrong, but it kind of seemed that way. is that it looks like the flowers all point in the same direction. So I don't know which technique or which way you've scattered the flowers with. What I like to do is I just like to use a particle system or a hair system to scatter the whatever I want to scatter. For flowers, what I would do is I would create a flower that isn't perfectly straight but has a slight angle, and then I would set the particle system to start and end of the emission, set it from frame 1 to frame 1. This way all the particles get sort of emitted at frame 1, the frame that you're at, or you set your timer to frame 1, then you can see all the particles at once, and then you can say that these particles are supposed to be rendered by, or they're supposed to be rendered as an object, which would then be the flowers. What you can then do is then basically all the particles get replaced by flowers, so you have flowers on the ground rather than particles. And then what you can do is you can enable rotation randomization as well as size randomization. What you can then do is you can enable that all the particles are supposed to have a random size and also a random rotation. Because the flowers aren't perfectly straight, but they have a slight rotation, or they have a slight curve, they will all point in a different direction, which makes the scene look a little bit more realistic, because, you know, all the flowers look in different directions. They're randomly scattered all over the ground. I think this is just a small detail maybe, but I've kind of seen it. These flowers kind of look like they all point in the same direction. You can see here the stem going in this direction, this curve. We have the same curve here. We have the same curve here. Maybe even the same curve here. So maybe if you use a particle system, then you can use the random rotation to make them, to scatter them maybe a little bit more realistic. Or if you use what are they called again? Geometry nodes. I think there's a way you can do that there too. I'm not quite sure how you do that there too. I mean, how you do that there. You might have to figure that out yourself. I'm not an expert with geometry nodes. I think if you would do that for all the plants that you've added to this scene, I think it'll look even better than what it already does. One thing, of course, that you already said here is that you wanted him to lie in the snow, but then it got too complicated, so you changed it to dirt. Right now it kind of looks like he's merged into the dirt. He's kind of clipping through it. That could just be because you wanted to end the project, or you wanted to finish the project and you didn't want to bother with like small fine-tune adjustments maybe. One thing you can consider is, if this is just a plane, you could add a subdivision to the plane so you have more geometry, and then you could maybe sculpt. You can use the crease brush to just kind of dig a small crease around him so that it actually looks like he's been buried rather than just part of the geometry, basically. I live in brand of the forest. Some spice of grass don't match, like don't leave together. And generally, grass grow is same height, same spread. Make more grass. Too much earth. Oh. I think it depends on where you are. Maybe you're right. I think with the vegetation that you've added here, I think this vegetation looks very, very vast, very luscious. I think this vegetation would probably look a little bit better if you add some more grass here. I think you can keep the ground texture, but maybe adding a little bit more grass, increase the density. I think that can help a lot here too. Going back to the other tip here, using a crease brush to just kind of dig into the mud to kind of signal that he isn't just part of the ground, but he's actually like in a hole. I think that can help too. If we would kind of, I could show you what I mean. Nope, don't save. So if we add a plane here, there you go. So this sphere is buried in the ground. What you can do is you can go here. You can enable, oh, hello. You can enable subsurface scattering. I don't know, you probably need quite a lot of geometry. If that's not enough, we need more. Let's subdivide it a few more times. Maybe once, maybe twice. There you go. So we have more subdivisions now. We can go to sculpting. Now let me show you what I mean. Right now it just kind of looks like the sphere is sort of part of the mesh, or it's sort of sitting on top of it. What you can do is you can probably use the crease brush and just kind of dig in here on the sides. What that does, it adds a small edge of dirt, or it kind of adds a small crease here. Of course, because it's the crease brush. But it separates one mesh from the other a little bit and kind of imitates this look of the sphere actually not just being part of the mesh, but more that it's been put into the ground. Like this. There you go. See, now it kind of looks like it's been buried, rather than it's like sitting in a hole rather than that it's being part of the mesh. So if you would compare this, that's number 1 merged together, and then number 2 sitting in a hole. That's one thing you could try. Welcome back, Palladium. Hope you enjoyed your Thursday. You can see here we're talking about how to bury spheres in a plane. No, we talked about how you can sort of, how you could, for example, for this astronaut, make it look more like he's actually lying underneath this dirt rather than sort of clipping or being part of the same, I guess, like being part of the dirt. Another thing you could try is you could add small rocks around the edge here to kind of create a transition from the glove or from the cloth from the astronaut to the ground. That's another thing you could try, but that would probably be more, you know, that would take more time. Did the grass grow too much and take more place? Yeah. And then there's one more thing that I wanted to talk about, which is post-production. I think in general the image, it's hard to see most of the time when you render it, but especially when you go into post-production. It doesn't need to be in Photoshop, you can also do it in Blender if you want to. It looks pretty dark. Usually that's the same case for me too. The renders generally are very dark. It could just be that you can increase the light source strength a little bit to make it brighter. But you can also do it in post-production. It's better if you do it in the scene itself before you render it. But if you have already rendered it and you don't want to do it again, you can also do it in post-production. You can, for example, go here. This is just the second setting in Photoshop. I don't think you have it in Blender. You have brightness though, and contrast too. You can maybe increase the brightness a little bit, because this is supposed to be a day scene. I would think, you know, looking at the reference here, you can see the sun. I guess this is probably the sun. So it would probably be a little bit brighter. Looking at it before and after, this looks pretty dark. Just adding a little bit more brightness, 59 brightness, you know, looks way more friendlier, way more inviting, way more brighter, more like daytime rather than this. It could be that the HDMI is a little bit too weak. There are different ways. Well, you can also just increase the strength. Another thing you could try is you probably use an environment node to display the HDMI, right? So maybe just increasing the strength can help there. Zipper grass is dominant herbs. I don't know too much about different grass types. Yeah, but maybe, you know, adding a little bit more of these grass thingies here could probably help a lot. If you don't want the grass to penetrate or to be where the astronaut is, what you can do is you can create weight painting, and then you can include the weight painting into the scattering as a mask, basically. So in the particle settings here, you can see it down here in the vertex groups. You can enable like vertex groups. These basically tell the particle system where to show or where to use, where to distribute particles and where not to distribute particles. You can use weight painting or vertex groups in geometry nodes too. So this is another way you can avoid having grass sort of poking through the suit, for example. Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I like the image. Looks pretty cool. Another thing you could consider, which isn't necessarily, which might not work that well here, is add a small bit of depth of field. Because it's quite a shallow scene, or quite a scene being shot from up top, it might not really make a big difference, so maybe, you know, that's not necessarily necessary. Yeah, but I like the image overall. You know, just adding the small brightness, you can do a lot in making the image way more inviting and probably reinforce or enhance the look that you were going for this. You know, the flowers look way more inviting and way more happy and all that with just a little bit more brightness. You know, you can maybe increase it even more. There you go. And then you can also, if you want to, this is in Photoshop then, go into the color balance. What I like to do, a easy hack to make images look more inviting, set it to 10% magenta or -10, or 10 magenta or -9, whatever. Let's set it to 10. There you go. This one to -10, and then this one to 10. There you go. It doesn't change much. It's basically like a pink, like a rose-colored glasses effect. It makes everything look a little bit more happy, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but you can see the difference here. It kind of removes the green color from everything. Green is oftentimes associated with like a, you know, like sickness, or, you know, like this. It's also associated with nature, but it's, I don't know, just removing the green from images sort of helps in making it look more inviting. Looking at it before and then after, you can see it just slightly changes the color, but I don't know, I like it. This might be just personal preference, but I like this sort of change here. I don't know if you can do that in Photoshop, I mean in Blender. You could maybe create a plain color and then maybe use that to remove the green, but yeah, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, but you know, two simple adjustments can do a lot. And then stuff like the glow effect can also help. The fog glow in Blender post-production helps a lot in making a scene look more realistic, because generally speaking, fog glow sort of simulates well, fog in the air or particles in the air that then reflect or catch light rays being reflected off a different surface, it basically simulates atmosphere or imitates atmosphere, which you know, every scene basically has atmosphere, except maybe when you're in space, which could be, you know, could make sense with a spacesuit here, but you know, you know, the glow could help here too. Maybe not so much though, because you don't necessarily have very specific highlights. It's everything is sort of the same brightness, so it might not work for this scene. Yep. Yeah, for this one you really only need like a small few adjustments to really improve the look a lot. Okay, let's go to the last one. This one is actually a blend file, so let's open that up, make a new. There you go. Let me quickly sit down and then we can go into the last submission for today. For this one, I probably need my my tablet. Okay, so we have a file. Let's open it up by passion. Yep, open. Doesn't work. Well, do you use a different version? Do you use 3.0? I have 3.0. Let's see if that works. I guess I could have just opened it myself. I mean, without opening it in that Blender version. There it is. Let's see. Does that work? Aha, there you go. Okay. Oh, 2 characters. Okay. Okay. So, of course, you've created characters. I mean, faces, but also a body. So, let's see. What else do we have here? We have an ear. Interesting. I don't think we need that one. Let's just get rid of it. We have this dude. Eyes. As well as this character. Okay. Let's go over this one first. Okay. Let's go to sculpting. Let's see if we can, hold on, enable dynamic topology. There you go. Okay. So, okay, let's begin. Good thing is, if you submit a blend file, I can make immediate adjustments in your blend file rather than just, I guess, making annotations. Oops. Wait, what? That's the wrong thing. There you go. Okay. So, let's see what you can adjust. Let's go over the face first. Oh, do you have teeth? Hold on. What is that? Is that just an opening? Okay, it's just an opening. No, you pulled it into the middle. Okay, yeah, I see what you've done here. So if I would smooth this, yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, of course, you would probably, shut it at the end. What I would generally say for when you want to make a rigged character or a character that then has an open mouth, for example, like for a specific pose, what I would suggest is that you create the character first with a closed mouth, like this one. And then at the end, when you retopologize the character, you can then not... So what you would then have is something like an edge. Oh, hello. Can I not? Oh, there you go. Wait, what? Why can I not? Hello? What is going on with with this character? Oh, wait. Did they actually change the hotkey to change? Aww. Usually if you press D in 2.93 you can change the object. Apparently they changed that again. That's annoying. Okay. So one thing I notice is that you have very, very varying densities in your sculpt. So I don't like doing that. I don't like having multiple different densities for your sculpt. I can show you why. So I guess what you use for sculpting is relative detail. Relative detail basically says you're sculpting with 12 pixel resolution from wherever you are with your camera. So if you're further away with your camera, the geometry will be bigger. If you're closer to the surface, the geometry will be smaller. I don't like that, because then what can happen is you can work on, for example, the lips. You say, well, I wanna, make them sharper. There you go. I wanna just adjust the shape just a little bit here. There you go. That looks way better. Oh no, you also use this size pressure. Oh no. I don't like using that because I like to see how big my brush is by seeing the cursor. That could just be a personal thing. So, So you do some adjustments here. Say, hey, these lips look really good. And then you say, oh, I want to make some small adjustments though. Let me use my clay strips brush. Let me just go here. I want to see the entire lip, and then let me do some adjustments here. Oh no. All the detail is gone again. Oh no. Yeah, I hate that. So what I like to do is I like to go and use constant detail. This way you can control how much resolution you want to use. So for this one, you probably use, let's see what you've used here. 132 actually. Oh no, that's quite a lot. I like to stay to 20 or 50, but now we're in 132. So you can do some adjustments here, with that size. Oh, hello. With that size. And then you can say, well, I want to make some, I want to then work a little bit further away. Well, I want to see the entire lips and work on them. We can do that too. And then you can still work with the same density that you've worked with before without removing or destroying the scope, basically. Yeah, I just like constant detail way more because you have more control over the resolution and don't risk removing like huge amounts of detail from your sculpt. Okay, let's go back here. Let's go over some things you could try. Okay, let's go over the face first, and then we can go to the body. Okay. Yep. I like the structure of the face. You have a pretty clear cheekbone. I like that. Oh, hello. There you go. Let's change the resolution to 50, let's say. No, let's stay on 150. So we have a clear cheekbone here. It's not necessary. It could be character, depending on what the character looks like. But I like that you thought about the structure and you added this. I also like that you've added the line right here, like this plane change. Looks very, very good. I like that. I like the profile view too, with this nice curve here. And this line looks really good too. You could consider, it's not necessary, but you could consider moving the mouth just a little bit further back. Usually profile views, the corner of the mouth is further back than the nostril, which was already the case here. You could, you can consider moving it just a little bit further back if you want to. It's not necessary, but, just a suggestion. There you go. Maybe even down. Depends on what you want to do here. Let's look at the ears. Okay. Let's see. So ears should begin at nose height. Oh no. And then should end somewhere at upper eyelid height. Oh no. I think you can move the ear just a little bit down and then it should look good. So you can see here we have a little bit of room here to spare and we have some room here to spare. So let's just move the ear just slightly lower. Oh, we can make that easier. One tool that I want to use more often is the elastic deform tool. Actually, maybe not for this. Oh, it could probably help. There you go. It keeps the structure of the sculpt a little bit better rather than the grab tool. The grab tool just kind of cares about what you kind of touch. The elastic deform tool tries to keep the general shape in form. It doesn't destroy it, basically. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a better position for it. Another guideline or another Let's look at some references here real quick. Human skull. The skull rounding, so this here, the top half of the skull, roughly ends at the height underneath the nose. So right in between the teeth and the nose, you can see here. If you would draw a line, here's the ending. It ends in between the nose and the teeth, or the nose and the lips. Underneath the nose, basically, right there. And then if you would create the neck would kind of extend downwards like this. So if you would include that, or if you would take that into account here, it kind of looks like the skull ends somewhere over here and then goes up. But if you look at it, it would probably end somewhere just slightly lower. So what you can do, you can just kind of lower all this just a little bit. Nope. Let's hide the other one real quick. Okay. There you go. Okay. So you could say maybe that's what you wanted, that the forehead goes like this, and then you have hair up top. It seems like quite a lot of hair. Maybe it helps to just kind of reduce or push it down just slightly. There you go. Just slightly. Because we've pushed it down here a little bit. It made it, elongated this part here. Maybe just pushing the middle down a little bit too. Or the top half down can probably help there too. Okay. Then we have the face. Generally speaking, there are different shapes to the eye. Or rotations for the eye. The inner corner generally stays in the same position. The outer corner can either be above the inner corner, on the same height, or below. This one very clearly is below. Is it? Let's see. Yeah, it is. You can see here. It's slightly lower than the inner corner. Which is okay. That's a characteristic of people. Generally though, one thing that you need to think of, or that you need to keep in mind, is that the iris is what opens up the... Well, no, the iris has like the eyeball has a small bump where the iris is. There's like a small vacuum in front of the iris. So the eyeball is not just like a sphere, it has a small bump here in the front. Like this, like a small bump right here. There you go. This bump moves or opens the eyelids just a little bit more. So the apex of both of the curves, the lower eyelid as well as the upper eyelid, the curves of them are the highest where the iris is. The iris should probably be somewhere here in the middle, so this should be the highest point. And then we have a clear curve going from the middle up here into the middle, and the middle is roughly usually is the highest point, because that's where the iris usually is if you look forward. And then the curve goes down again for the upper eyelid. And then for the lower eyelid is usually pretty straight, actually, pretty horizontal. It might go down a little bit, but generally speaking, if you look at it from like a further away as a general shape, it's quite flat. So if you look at a portrait, this one, what you oftentimes can see is that either the lower eyelid goes up first, slightly upwards. So up, and then creates this curve, or it stays horizontal and then goes down a little bit. If you look at another reference here too, you can see a very, very clear curve for the upper eyelid, a very shallow curve for the lower eyelid. Let's look at him. Same here. Pretty straight down at the bottom eyelid, a clear curve at the top eyelid. This one basically, well, there's a curve, but it doesn't go down. It basically only goes up because the corner of the eye is higher than the outer corner. And this is a very clear curve at the top. So one thing you can consider is maybe moving this up a little bit. You can still keep the corner of the eye lower, but just kind of moving this at least here, make it horizontal and then move it down later. I think it looks a little bit more realistic. There you go. Oh, I didn't duplicate the model before I went into this. Well, we can do that afterwards. Okay. So that's one change. Also, of course, always keeping in mind, generally speaking, the nostril where it ends is where the inner corner of the eye is. So that's in the right position. Okay. One thing you can keep in mind. So the fat pad for the above the eyelid is the biggest right here, and then it sort of fades out as it goes into the middle. So what you could have is you have a very clear defined fat pad right here. Very clear defined fat pad right here. Like this. And then as it goes into the middle, it sort of fades away. So you would have like a smooth area right there. Like this. It doesn't necessarily create like a crease. Sometimes you have a slight shadow right there, but it's not like super defined. It's more very subtle because the skin smoothes all everything that is underneath the skin basically. Okay. We had a reference 2 days ago. No, on Monday. Kratos that had pretty defined, I guess, upper eye bags because he's pretty lean. His eye, I guess his fat above his eye isn't as big. Let's look at it real quick. Face scan workflow. There it is. You can see here how there's a very distinct line right there. This is the bone right here. This is the bone. And this is the skin that is lying on top of his eyelid. It looks like, of course, he's older. His skin begins to fall or sag a little bit, gets looser. So it just kind of droops over the eyelid. It doesn't really seem like there's a lot of fat in it. If there would be more fat in it, if he would be less lean, I guess, he would have a rounder... This edge would probably not be there necessarily. He would have like a more round, I guess eyebrow, you could say. So this is a case where you would have this very defined edge right there. That would be when you have very little body fat. But otherwise you would have, even then it's pretty smooth. But that would probably be the unsmoothest of all like ways you could display, or you could have fat above your eyelids. Okay. Let's see. I think looking at my reference real quick. No, maybe not. You can consider pushing this slightly forward. It's not necessary, I think. One thing generally to keep in mind, these muscles of course exist, but in most cases they are very smooth. So if you look at different portraits here, this one, you can only really see them where they attach to the bones right here. You can only really see them there, and then they just merge because they're basically just flat. So muscles are basically like strings that bunch up where they connect to the bone, where they are attached to the bone, but then they spread out, get very flat, and then they connect, or they bunch up again. So you can see them here bunched up, and then they get pretty flat, so they sort of merge with the overall surface. We can see the same here. You can't really see it here at all. For her, you can see a slight definition, not really that much. Very, very smooth. For her too, very, very smooth. It's basically just like a cylinder almost. For him too. If we look at Kratos again, you can see for him, even for him, it's quite smooth. You can see maybe more definition, maybe also just because it's a black and white image. But even for him, it's very, very smooth. So it's good that you've added them. But what you can then do once you've added the Adam's apple as well as the muscles right there is you can fill the room in between a little bit and smooth it out. Also, the muscles connect here in the middle, right there. So they would go more like this. There you go. If you would shape this a little bit. There you go. And then if you smooth it. There you go. Okay. Okay. For the body, real quick. Let's go over the body real quick. I think overall I think I like the muscle definition here. There's one muscle that you need to add here though, which is the secondary biceps muscle, which comes here behind the chest, I mean the shoulder muscle, and then merges, or it lies basically underneath the biceps muscle, which is right here, but it's still part of the biceps muscle. It has the same function. So it looks kind of like this. There you go. The triceps. This muscle here is bigger. This triceps muscle is bigger than the other one. This one is the smaller one, so it looks kind of like this. Like flower petals, you could say. The chest looks pretty flat right now. You can see there's not really that much volume. Muscles have a certain volume, especially chest muscles. Big muscles have a lot of volume. So what you can probably just do here is just kind of... Oh, wait, why is that so big? There you go. Just kind of add some more volume here. Especially here. Especially like man boobs, whether, when they're trained, they tend to sag a little bit and create this specific crease right here. Don't bother with the body. Okay. There you go. Yeah, this way you can kind of, add some more volume to everything. Yeah. Oh. Let's go look at a before and after. Originally, I focus on this one. Again, if you want to get feedback on the other one, on the female character, you can post it again if you want. And we're going to look at it the next time. Let's look at a before and after real quick. Let me save this. you go. Let's call this the first one, right? Yeah. After. I'm gonna remove this real quick just so we can make it before and after shot. There you go. Is it this one? Maybe? Nope. Oh, that's okay. Nice UFO. Is it this one? Yep, there it is. So we have before. We don't need this. Okay. So we have that's before. And that's after. It looks happier. I think because I changed the well, the eyes a little bit. As well as the no, actually only the eyes. Yeah, we lowered the ears a little bit. I didn't put enough work into it to be worth criticizing. Can you just tell me what you think of the female one? Just yeah or meh? Okay, well I deleted it. Let me just pen it real quick. This one, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So this is I think the eyes look pretty big. Overall, it depends on what you want to go for. I guess you wanted to go for realism. I think the eyes are pretty big for realistic characters. Generally, the guidelines for eye sizes, of course, is inner corner where the nostril begins. No, where the nostril ends. And then you can go from the middle of the lip over. Let's go to sculpting real quick so I can show you. Oh, hold on. There you go. Go from here over the nostril and past the ear. Just extend that line. And that's roughly where the eye should end. So, of course, wait, yeah, there you go. So the eye should roughly end and only really touch the line. Even maybe even be a little bit smaller than that. Same for the eyebrows. The eyebrows should end somewhere on this line too. So going from the middle of the mouth over the nostril, that's a good guideline for the size. So it would be like this. That's a good guideline. So the eye should be something like this. Ooh. There you go. There you go. It's not really that visible, but you can see it probably. There you go. So the eyes can be a little bit smaller. It can deceive a lot when you look at, especially like female reference images, for example, portraits or whatever. Makeup can make eyes look way bigger than they actually are. Yeah, but this is a good guideline for to keep your eye size in check. Also, another way you can do that is by using the eyeball as the, I guess, size check. What I mean is, the eyeballs generally, looking at eyeball size, 5 eyeballs next to each other, using basically the array modifier, for example, 5 eyeballs next to each other equals the head width, and the space in between both eyeballs roughly is 1 eyeball. So you would have a row of 5 eyeballs. So if this is an eyeball, you could use an array modifier, for example. We would have 5. So this would be head width. So if we would do that real quick, we can go in here. Okay. There you go. That would roughly be the eye size and also eye position. So now you can place them right there. Push them forward. You would of course have to remove the other 3. But though that would be a pretty good position for the eyes. And eye size too. You can see there, these spheres are way smaller than the other ones. So that's a good guideline too that you can use. Or if you want to go with sculpting the eyelids first before you add the eyeballs, you can use the line method. Going from here over the nostril and then nostril to the inner corner too. Looking at the profile view. I like the ear position. I think the ear position is good. The jaw might be pretty high, although that I think I've seen that before. Let's see. Female face profile. Yeah. So if you look at the lip height compared to the sort of where the jaw makes a turn inwards or upwards, it's actually on lip height roughly. So I think the height there is, oh, it's actually higher. Maybe you can lower it just a little bit. So let's do that real quick. I'm not going to change the eye right now, just because I would have to change the eye ball too for that to work. Maybe lowering the jaw just a little bit can help. The chin looks pretty long. Of course, that could be a characteristic. But generally speaking, chins are... Well, maybe it could also just be because it's pretty pointy that it looks very long. What you can do is you could just either, you know, make it a little bit smaller. Or, if you want to keep the length, you can also just add some more width to it. To kind of spread it out over the jaw a little bit more. If we do it this way, there you go. Let me just quickly enable dynamic topology so we don't see the faces. There you go. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if the eyes might be a little bit too high. They could be right in the middle of the skull. Generally speaking, of course, eyes are somewhere in the middle of the skull. They could be a little bit lower, they could be a little bit higher. Tendency would be for males for them to be either in the middle or a little bit higher. For females, in the middle or a little bit lower. This looks to be in the middle. Maybe a little bit higher, but it's not really a huge difference. You could put them down just a little bit if you want to. Also, the eyebrows are pretty high. There you go. Okay. The nose. Let's look at a profile view of the nose first, real quick. Nope, hold on. Portrait. Female face profile. I think this one is the best reference for this. I think it works quite well. The nose. I thought maybe that there could be some more room between the nose hole and the nose tip, so something like this. But it doesn't need to be. One thing is the bridge. I think it's pretty uncommon to have such a strong curve for realistic characters. Generally speaking, the bridge, the bony part is pretty straight. The curve comes from the comes basically from these two parts here being pretty round, which creates this sort of bump here in the front. But generally speaking, the tip, the only thing that really creates the curve is the tip. The bridge stays pretty strong, but it stays pretty straight. And the other part that can create that curve is here, the transition from the bridge to the forehead. So a more natural curve could look something like this, and then like this. So this stays straight. Here we have a slight curve, and then here we have a slight curve. you can often see in like comic depictions that they have like super round noses or nose bridges. But let's look at some reference here. Maybe I'm wrong, but in my experience so far, the bridge is pretty straight, or it has a small bump. Hers, even though it looks pretty round for her, but you can see the roundness only really comes from the transition from the nose bridge to the forehead. Here, this curve, that's what I mean. Yeah, the nose bridge overall in itself is pretty straight. Here you can see what I mean with the tip creating the curve. Here you can see bridge is pretty strong. The trajectory of the bridge would be just straight down, but then you can see the tip creates this small bump here in the front, which kind of adds to the curve look. But this is pretty straight. Yeah. So to make it look more natural, you know, make the bridge straight. There you go. Nostrils. I mean, the nose holes are inward facing ovals. The nostrils look pretty thick right now. I think we can move. We can. Oh, hello. We can make the nose hole just a little bit bigger. There you go. Looks pretty big. But that could also be because of the nose shape. Yeah. I don't want to make it too wide. Yeah, there you go. And then here, for the back, you can see here the skull ends up here somewhere, but it is somewhere down here actually. So we need to move it down a little bit. Make it nice and round. Okay. Yeah, you know, that could be preference. You can see here, it looks like she has her jaw, sort of her mandible, slightly pushed forward like this. I think if you want to fix that, it could be, you know, if you want to keep it that way, you can do that. Or what you can do is you can just select all this and move it backwards just slightly, so that it looks more like this one, where the top lip is further forward than the lower lip. Okay. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Yeah, those are a few adjustments you could consider. Let's quickly save this again and append it again. So this is wait, what? Oh. There you go. So this is before 2. No, that's after 2. After 2. Let's append it again. That is before 2. Okay. So this is before. This is after. 4, after. 4, after. 4, after. I don't know why I always do that. There you go. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Quality is better in Twitch. Yeah, I think the quality on Twitch is a little bit better. Also the chat, like if you like, you know, the chat is faster on Twitch for some reason than YouTube. There's a smaller delay. There you go. Yep. I'm gonna save this again, and then I can put it in the Google Drive folder again. Yep. Okay. That concludes. Yeah. That concludes the feedback session for this week. The next one will be in 2 weeks again. So, you know, post your work until then. And yeah, we're going to look at it then. And, you know, maybe, you know, if you want to show off your new and improved scopes or images or whatever, you can, of course, do that. Or, you know, you can show off new stuff. Hope these corrections were helpful. Yep. As I said, since Tuesday, next week, I will not stream. Next week, I will focus on videos because I'm kind of behind on that. I have 2 big videos that I want to finish, which kind of block. So what I like to do is I like to work on a project on stream, and then I like to turn that into a video. The problem is, because I have these 2 videos, everything that I do on stream either needs to be pushed back, or I need to stall, I guess, on stream, just do smaller projects or smaller things on stream until I'm like basically ready to move on to the new video topic, for example. So what I want to do is I want to next week just fully focus on videos. So there will be no streams next week, but the week after, very, very likely, will be the next stream. So in 2 weeks on Monday, they're going to be the next stream. Hope these adjustments, hope these, you know, hope the feedback was helpful. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, chatting, or just being here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Maybe I'll see you next time. If not, take care.